19-year-old boy shot put 61 feet 1/4 of an inch.
Our second section, our seated section for the 17 and 18-year-old young men 2K steeple. We have 22 slated for this field. Anthony Pena, East Moline, Illinois. Randy Carter Jr., Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Jonathan Johnson, Fort Washington, Maryland. Parker Phillips, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Jonell Joe, Wilmington, Delaware. Jerron Hamilton, Grand Prairie, Texas. Jared Hamilton, Grand Prairie, Texas. Ryan Brands, McKinney, Texas. Nashawn Collins, Beechwood, Ohio. William Devaney, Katy, Texas. Matthew Griffiths of Sulphur, Louisiana. Cam Therio of Baytown, Texas. Christian Hernandez of Spring, Texas. Cameron Horn, Post Falls, Idaho. Nathan Pohl, Canton, Michigan. Andreas Aregis, Round Rock, Texas. Hunter Henderson, Topeka, Kansas. Oscar Tolentino, Grand Prairie, Texas. Samuel Schrade, Houston, Texas. Nathan Knorr, Quincy, Michigan. Temesgen Solomon of Richardson, Texas. And Joseph Mercier of White Lake, Michigan. And we have a clean start. Section 2, as I said, our seated section, 17 and 18-year-old young men, 2,000-meter steeplechase underway. You can see them making their way around the first bend. About 80 meters from their first steeple. Out front, that's number 2, Randy Carter Jr. of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Number 4, Parker Phillips, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. And number 6, Jaron Hamilton, Grand Prairie, Texas. Hanging back, that's number 1, Anthony Pena of East Moline, Illinois, now positioning himself, as is everyone else up front and throughout the field for the first water jump. And in they go, and out they come. Number 6 now, Jerron Hamilton, Grand Prairie, Texas, looking very smooth up the home stretch as they'll come up the 4 laps remaining in this 2K. Jonell Joe of Wilmington, Delaware. He was 4th in this race last year. First 400 meters reached in about 71 seconds. Very good opening 400 for this field. But as to be expected, after all, this is the national championship. And we do have an incredible amount of talent in this race. Let's continue to urge them on. Number 6, Jaron Hamilton of Grand Prairie, Texas, on the rail. It's number 2, Randy Carter Jr., Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Number 5, Jonell Joe of Wilmington, Delaware, now taking the lead. As we said, 4th last year in this championship. Roughly 2:23 at 800 meters. As Joe leads Hamilton over that steeple. Making their way now past the Fanavision. Sitting 3rd right now, that's Parker Phillips wearing hip number 4. Jonell Joe, Wilmington, Delaware. Jerron Hamilton, Grand Prairie, Texas. Parker Phillips, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. In 4th, number 2, Randy Carter Jr., Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Coming up to the next water jump pit. Hamilton now sneaking ahead. Clear line for the pit. There he goes. Janelle Joe now sitting on his back wheels. They approach the home stretch. They'll be coming up on 2 laps to go. Jerron Hamilton and Janelle Joe running 1-2. Parker Phillips still sitting third but chipping away at the leaders. 2 laps to go. 3:42 on the clock with 800 meters remaining in this 17 and 18-year-old young men's 2,000-meter steeplechase. That's Hamilton on the rail, Joe on the outside. And Phillips continues to chip up. Jerron Hamilton now in front. A little surge trying to create some separation. Janelle Joe will have nothing of it as he sits right there in Hamilton's slipstream. Parker Phillips continuing to whittle away at the leaders. Jerron Hamilton, Janelle Joe approaching the water jump yet again. Little surge to the steeple, touch and go. Both young men in and out safely and deftly as they hit the home stretch. And they'll be approaching the bell lap. Steeple cleared, 40 meters to the bell. Hamilton checking over his shoulder. And bell lap reached roughly in 5 minutes even. Still no change as they come past the fan of vision. Number 6, Jerron Hamilton, Grand Prairie, Texas. Number 5, Janelle Joe, Wilmington, Delaware. Still in third, Parker Phillips, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Down the backstretch, Hamilton now picking up. Joe attempting to respond. Phillips in third. Jerron Hamilton heading for the water jump. His last water jump in this competition. Hamilton now with a kick. Accelerating well into the water jump. Done very well. Here he comes. 1 steeple left to negotiate. Jerron Hamilton. Number 6, Jerron Hamilton, Grand Prairie, Texas. But 20 meters from the end, our 2016 AAU Junior Olympic champion, 6:11:45. Janelle Joe up for second. Joe 6:19:91. Just over Parker Phillips with a great kick. His time 6:20:30.